drill. Talking business, talking shop, making moves non-stop. From e-com to hustle, straight talk, no props. Straight talk, no gimmicks, no lies. Hey, I break it down with the sharpest minds. Money moves, mindset, grind. If you're ready to win, then tune in live. Big names, big games, all the lessons they bring. From Jelly Belly to AA Kings. From the startup grind to the top tier pros. We crack the code, now here we go. Straight talk, commerce, getting to know, but Wayne Altman. Let's start the show.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to make sure everyone was ready for part 3 of probably one of the greatest conversations that I've had with Straight Talk Commerce. Garry Meier is not only in the Radio Hall of Fame, he's in the Friendship Hall of Fame. Great guy. I can always count on Garry. We have a lot of fun when we talk, and I hope everyone has had as good a time listening to this interview. Regardless, this is part 3. This is the tail end of the interview, and maybe we'll bring Garry back at some point in the future. But enjoy. Well, I would say that I'm working on another interview here very shortly. It's Canadian brothers. They own a roofing business called the Rudan Brothers. And I'm going to send you a link. You got to watch these guys. Absolutely fantastic. And what they do, they have a very successful roofing business in Toronto. Very successful. Once a week, these 3 guys jump in their van and they drive around their neighborhood and they find someone whose gutters are broken or they look pretty shabby. Mm-hmm. They go knock on the door and offer to replace the gutters on the house for free. And the people are like, nothing's for free. Every one of these videos is the same formula. You're trying to scam me, sign this paper, blah. Well, they go, no, it's not a scam. Give me the paper, we'll sign it. And they replace the gutters. But that's not the kicker. Then once they're done, they come out and they say, hey, take a look at the gutters. They're like, beautiful. These guys did a really good job. They make the gutters per house in their van. So these long 27-foot long gutters are made to order. These guys, that's not what they do. Garry, they say, listen, while we were up on your roof, we noticed that it was in pretty bad shape. So we're coming back in 2 days and we're going to replace your entire roof with a $20,000 steel roof, double lattice, vented. And these people lose their shit. They cannot believe that they've been worried about the leaks and what's going to happen and the squirrels that have been going up there. And these guys, now look, you think, well, damn, how once a week they're spending 20 grand on a family in need.
Now, do they take vid and then put that online?
Yes. So that's you have a YouTube channel, 800 and some odd thousand followers. These guys make about $1.2 million per year on their YouTube channel.
Yep.
Ha ha, joke's on you.
Right.
We're going to film this, create content, and make some money there. So don't cry for me, Argentina, because these guys are smarter than everybody else.
There you go. Good karma.
Figuring it out. In their area, and now they're famous. Now, when they go knock on the doors, though, are less likely to go, oh, this is a scam. Right. They hit the lottery. The Rudan brothers get there and hit. I am dying to talk. I have sent so many messages to these knuckleheads. If they ever, in their email box, they're going to see that. I am dying to interview them because I love genius. You know that about me. I love people with fantastic ideas. And which brings me to another question.
Well, I wouldn't call them knuckleheads, Wayne, if you're trying to get them on.
They're knuckleheads. You may want to prove me wrong. Those knuckleheads need to come see me.
All right.
I'll say it to their face. No, I love them. Look, number one, I love the fact that people do things for others expecting nothing in return.
Right.
I try to teach my children that. You know me. I try to do that for myself. I try to pay things forward. You look, no one's paying me to do Straight Talk Commerce. The reason I started doing this was because of all the bad advice I was seeing when it to e-commerce, and plus I enjoy talking about that subject. Look, you're in the Radio Hall of Fame. We talked about that. Tell me about that. What did that feel like, and what do you think about it now looking back?
I was humbled when I heard we were going in, and I didn't think about ever going in. I just thought the reward for me was people liking the show and making a living. That was the reward. This is icing on that cake because that hall includes some pretty impressive people. I don't know if they look at me and go, "Oh, you're impressed." But got it as a sidebar. Getting back to Paul Harvey, we talk about that. We did a pre-show that wasn't recorded, and then I mentioned Paul Harvey. Did we record the Paul Harvey thing? So it sounds like I did.
But say it again. I don't
Okay,
care.
I was working in my father's dry cleaners when I was a kid.
Right.
He had a radio on, and Paul Harvey would come on and do his Paul Harvey reports. And if you don't know who Paul Harvey was, Google him, because this guy, and I don't care what your politics are, Paul leaned conservative. It was the delivery and how this guy went about what he did.
Yeah.
Get this, my wife and I got to sit in the studio as he did one of his newscasts one day. To me, it was like watching Lennon and McCartney write a song.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because he had a unique style that's not been replicated. And every day he was on at noon, I'd make sure I was near the radio, usually in the car, to listen. It was better in the car because it's the whole experience. That's the way radio is mostly listened to. And Paul Harvey came on, and Paul Harvey's in the Hall of Fame. And I'm thinking, well, I get to be with Paul Harvey in that way. That kind of thing is what gives me great pleasure. And listen, to be acknowledged by your peers, it's not nothing. But again, I'm a guy from the south side of Chicago. I just wanted to be on the radio someday when I decided that was my calling, and I got to be on the radio and now podcasting. It's all good. I just enjoy the hell out of it.
I would suppose that it's very similar to being in the NFL Hall of Fame, in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, hockey, whatever. You're at the pinnacle of your success in your field. I guess it would be the people that elect you to the Hall of Fame would be your peers in radio, correct?
They have to vote on it, yes.
Would everybody get sent a ballot? At that point, you'd been voting for years, you and everybody in there.
I don't know how many times you went on the ballot, but you're right. There's a process where you might get on the ballot and then you don't make it to the next step. So that has to happen in those steps. And then if everybody goes, yeah, time, boom, you get in.
That's a very good. I didn't even think about that. You probably voted on the ballot that sent you into the Hall of Fame, right?
I don't remember getting a ballot that said, "Would you like to see Steve and Garry in the Hall of Fame?"
Like filling out extra ballots. But
yeah, sure, yeah, those guys.
You don't remember that?
No,
you don't
I didn't.
Remember
I don't think
ever
I was
seeing you.
No.
Because I would imagine you didn't. Were you a first round ballot, or were you a first
ballot
inductee?
I don't remember a process.
That would make sense.
It was just, hey, you're in.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that, Wayne, because when I got the notification, I thought it was, oh, you've been put on the ballot to see if you should go in. And they go, no, you're in.
Oh, you're in.
Oh, I thought this was the first step.
Wow. First round. I'm going to have to do some research on that. That is going to kill me if I don't. And you know what? I thought about that about 6 months ago, now that I'm thinking about that. Before you came to visit, I thought about that, how that whole process worked. I did a little bit of a deep dive in that. Those kind of things fascinate me for whatever reason, Garry. Sorry, but it just do. I like to know how things work. When people look back at your work, and I'm talking about the entire body of work, 15, 20 years from now, what do you think they're going to get from that? Or what do you hope that they learn from the things that you've done? You're nowhere near done. But let's get that very clear. You and I working on some things together. You were a big part of Melody Clouds when Melody Clouds was up and running. And I feel bad about that because of issues with privacy, people's personal privacy. I'm okay with you giving your information to anyone that you want. I have no say in that. But when your information is taken from you without your knowledge, without your permission, I got a huge issue with that. And so I closed a business. I closed an entire thriving business down because of that. There's no way forward without me having to offer people's information that I had no business offering, and I refused to do it. So, but when people look back at your work, what do you hope that they get from that? What do you hope that they remember?
Well, I'll tell you what is happening all the time that I get a real kick out of. People will go, such as a few months ago, I was reading the story that McDonald's sells ice, 8 pound bag of ice for $1. I didn't know they sold bags of ice at McDonald's. That kind of intrigued me. So now, a week ago, person goes, "Oh, I'm on vacation in Hawaii. I saw a sign, 8-pound bag of ice for $1. I immediately thought of you." I get this all the time where people go, "Oh, I was driving down the road. There's a bunch of trash. I immediately thought of you," because I've imprinted these touchstones that I like to have fun with in such a way that people think about me. Water cannons. This is a thing. I always talk about water cannons because I say, in control, growing industry, look around, water cannons. Every large city should have at least a water cannon. And I'll tell you where this has played, and you're in Los Angeles, you don't have to have me tell you. In Chicago, they have these people that do drifting, where they get their cars in the middle of an intersection and just spin around until the police come. What happens is the neighbors call, it's usually at 3 a.m, and the police arrive, 2 squad cars, 4 police, 300 people assembled. I don't know how 4 police are going to handle that. Usually they can't, so they got to call for backup. But this keeps going on and on in these high tax areas where people are paying a lot of money to live there and getting this nonsense. And I say, a water cannon comes in, starts spraying everybody, because what I found is if I have water in my shoes, Wayne, I want to go home. That's usually the case. It's got to be, I think, more benign than rubber bullets, tear gas, and all these other methods. What's wrong with water? Now, usually is, well, back in the 60s, they used water cannons during the racial demonstrations. And I said, okay, if you're assembling peacefully, you don't get the water cannon. They use them in Europe. I've seen them on the news in Europe. And the beauty of these in Europe, they have a big digital sign. And when they show up, they make the announcement, you have 30 seconds to leave the area because you're assembling illegally. I think that's fair. You got 30 seconds, and then we're going to turn the water cannon on, and then the big digital countdown happens. I don't know what else you can ask for. And then if they don't leave, spray. And if they've started cars on fire, you can put the cars out and you can power wash the street. All good.
I'll tell you what the alternative is. Is a Tiananmen Square tank rolling over people. There's one alternative. Taking
not good.
Real bad.
Water.
There are. Let me tell you something. When I was in the military, we tested a large microwave dish on top of our Humvee. And basically what it was there for was crowd control. You turn that microwave beam on and you could boil the out of the top layer of someone's skin. And it wouldn't hurt them permanently. There was no scarring. You didn't get a burn afterward, but it was very uncomfortable. So you turn this microwave on someone and the first layer of their skin, those microwaves would penetrate. It would boil the water in that top layer of skin. And you talk about hot foot. You talk about painful. That was a very effective way. Now, we don't use that. A lot of times we're not even using pepper spray or pepper bullets. Or I did see in LA, someone caught one of those non-lethal rounds to the face. And it looked to me like he wished it had been a lethal round. I mean, it looked like it.
A lethal round of what?
Well, a lethal round. In other words, he got hit so hard with this non-lethal round, he probably wished they'd have gone ahead with the full lethal.
What was it? A rubber bullet?
Rubber bullet, yeah. They rubber bullets, or they use
sand.
Yeah,
sand. Something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not saying you can't assemble. You have rights. You're perfectly welcome to stay on the side. Once you start blocking the streets and that crap, I don't care what your political persuasion is.
Yep.
You can't break stuff. You can't set stuff on fire, and you can't block the streets. You are allowed to do assembling. There is protection for that. You can't invade
the Capitol. You can't invade. You can't, do a building uninvited.
There you go. We've got rules. We have such a great system in this country, and it's not that hard to stay within the boundaries. But some people can't. So there come the water cannons.
One of the things that my listeners will probably be, they'll if I don't ask this question, you've got sponsors for your podcast. How did you evolve those relationships? How did you bring in sponsors for the show?
If there's a challenge in podcasting, at least from my view, that's the challenge, because there are so many to pick from. You have to have a certain threshold of people that are listening to you to get into that next level, how much you can charge and this and that. My sponsorships have mostly been people that I've known. Either they sponsored my radio shows and transferred to the podcast, or they're listeners who have a company and decide, I want to be on your podcast. And that's really how it's all come about over the last 9 years. But I'm always open to have more sponsors. I mean, is really how you keep things going, because there are certain expenses. It's not free. It's reasonable, but it's
Sure.
not, for me, free. And now I keep this thing going. And the premium shows, there's a monthly charge for that. But you could always use more.
Is that handled directly on the platform? In other words, your YouTube, your version, they're right on the YouTube platform. You get to go in, they're members that immediately that collects the money for you. You get paid for that, and you all on that platform. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Libsyn is my carrier for the shows, and they handle the subscriptions.
For us, look, we've gotten sponsors that I will talk about that product that I look at it as I want to people I want to sponsor me. So I talk about certain products. If I like something that vidIQ, for example, it's a very good example. I'm trying to woo them over to Daddy, me, because I really use their product a lot. Opus Clips, I use their product a lot. If they want to come talk to me about sponsoring this program and me talk about them even nicer and, a little bit more, I'm very open to that, and other products too, as they come up. This bringing, because I have online businesses, some of which I can openly sponsor with Straight Talk Commerce, but there's others that I can't, that I can't. So yeah, it's kind of communicating to my audience, hey, I either own this, want to be in partnership with these people, so let me talk about them a little bit. Word gets back to them. I'm going to make sure that word gets back to them. I'm shameless. I don't care. I want you to know that I talked about your product this on my show, and if you want to hear more, by all means, to me. And that has worked pretty well for us.
Wayne, I've asked Jägermeister to sponsor, and I said I'll change my name to Jäger Meier.
Yeah.
If you sponsor. It's like put a tattoo of somebody on there to make money off the tattoo. We've seen those.
I saw one of those Judge Judy type clips on YouTube, or was it YouTube? Yeah, probably YouTube the other day, where someone had tattooed the radio station call letters on his forehead. I don't know whether it's real or not. It's to me that, but they offered him $500,000, or offered one of their listeners $500,000 to tattoo that on their forehead, and he did. And they said, hey, look, we said it was a joke, and we talked about it being a joke.
Not going to go well.
Right.
That legally does not work.
Exactly.
Here's another story like that. I believe it was a Hooters restaurant where the management offered their employees this. The waitress that had the most sales for the month got a Toyota. So they're all working hard. All these waitresses are trying to get all the customers in there and make the most money. At the end of the month, this one woman had the most, and they had the ceremony, and she's standing there, and the manager comes up and gives her a toy Yoda, okay? And didn't fly. She got a lawyer. She got the car. And in radio, I don't know what station this was, or if it was all just nonsense somebody made up, but that's happened in radio where they try to pull these little, we're just kidding. You're not going to be kidding when the lawyer shows up, because you can't just say that stuff and go, we're just kidding. If you said it, came through the radio station's airwaves, look out.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that with people too. They're going to be just as responsible for the things that they say I've had a lot of people very recently. I did a show about these guys that go on Facebook, they go on, Instagram, and they offer to build e-commerce businesses for people and charge like $4,000, sometimes $10,000, and they build these businesses, but all fail. All of them fail, and it's because they don't know what to do with doesn't know what to do with the business after it's been built. It's one thing to shove something on Shopify, to throw up a website. but it's what do you need to do? Where do you get products from, especially drop shipping? They'll do a lot of these drop shipping stores. And you think, well, you don't even know where to get. I mean, tariffs out the wazoo. You can't get products from China without paying, dollars more than you would. How do you source products for your store now? Have the knowledge afterwards. So you just spent $10,000. You don't know what to. It's like buying a car and not knowing how to drive.
That's fault is that? Yeah.
Well, funny because I got a book coming out, and in the book I talk about social media and the mathematical probability of success on every platform. I go through the platforms and I talk about the mathematical probability of someone being successful on that platform. Okay. And what I found by doing the math was you have a 98% success rate. Probability of success is 98%, provided you do this algorithm. You put out 5 pieces of content per day, 20 a week, and that's shorts and long form content on that platform. And you do that for 365 to 600, 2 years. So in other words, you do that for, some odd weeks, you have a 98% chance of going viral and having a successfully monetized channel on any platform you want to pick. It's longevity. It's the things that you learn in that 2-year period of time. And that small 2% of people that don't make it are those people that will post. They don't post regularly, so it's hit or miss when they're going to post something. They don't learn anything about the content that their customers want to listen to. That's one thing about you that is I always I get tickled about, because your format very much the same. I know exactly what you're going to do next, what's going to happen next. The content is always different. It's always a very good conversation. You and Leslie have a very good banter back and forth. It's a lot of fun to watch, but I'm comfortable watching it because the format of it is the same. The cannoli comes down the aisle at the same time. You tires and you light the fires, right? You do the finger guns, and all of these things are inside people that people who watch you regularly are going to pick up on. That's another big key thing. So I use you all the time as a example of how to be successful on these platforms.
As much as people say they want to try new things, people like comfort and they like to have something where they know what they're going to get. You don't go to McDonald's and order 2 hot dogs, a bag of potato chips, and a grape, because you're not going to get it. You know why you're going to McDonald's, and that's why you go to McDonald's. This is not a hard thing to figure out.
Well, 2 things. Every sitcom has the same format. You turn on Charles in Charge, or you turn on Friends, or you turn on Seinfeld, same basic format, right? Laugh track's got to be there because people are too stupid to know when to laugh when something is funny. I mean, none of us are that dumb. And the thing that I've figured out and I'm trying to fix is people don't understand. And I'm talking about, do not understand 2 things. Number one, the power of collaboration. You and I right now are collaborating, right? Taking someone from their audience and putting them in front of my audience in an attempt to have my audience reach your audience. In other words, join your audience. Very nakedly, I'm totally unashamed of doing that. You have an audience that I would like to introduce to my audience, or you are someone I want to introduce to my audience, okay? That's one. The second thing is very few content creators will publicize themselves. They spend 0 money. They do not try and gain and help their people find out about them. And one of the things Straight Talk Commerce has done very, very is we have spent money or invested in letting people know we exist and building our subscribers and our audience exponentially when we started.
Yeah, that's the whole trick right there. If it is a trick, or whatever you want to call it, that's what it is.
Well, when you and Steve were doing your morning show, there were promotion throughout the day, right? Talking
Mhm.
about you and Steve Dahl, on
Yeah,
what it was or whatever,
right,
or there
right.
would be billboards. Your would be on a
Well,
billboard.
you're so right about marketing, and radio, when it was doing that, was much more successful, and they cut that out too, thinking we don't need that. No, have to market. You don't you can't assume that everybody knows where you're at. And they did a beautiful job of TV, billboards, print, all that stuff back in the day. And that added to the fuel of what made us. We had to provide the content when they came there. You can't
Sure.
advertise something
Yeah.
and then have people come there and it's crap. We delivered when they gave us that promotion.
I'm telling you that even people who know that in their head, they've experienced it, have gone from the medium that they came from, whether it's TV, whether it's Don Lemon, same thing. Don Lemon, or they've come from the medium that they came from, and they start doing podcasts. Even Joe Rogan does collaborative videos with Theo Vaughn, with other podcasters. He does what he wants when he wants, right? Mr. Beast, I always use Mr. Beast as an example of this. He has more subscribers than the United States has population. He has 400 million subscribers to his podcast. And that's the US podcast, all right? This guy doesn't need, everyone knows who I'm talking about when I say Mr. Beast, okay? He still advertises others' channels. He still collaborates with hundreds. In one video, he'll collaborate with 100 different, and smaller channels don't pick up on that. People that are under 100,000 subscribers do not understand. They think that they can roll out of bed, put something online, and somehow miraculously YouTube is going to vacuum them into the algorithm. And I'm here to tell you, it don't work that way.
No.
That is not, they don't know you. They have no idea what it is you've said, you could have the best content ever. Your chances without promotion, without someone, doesn't have to be you, but someone needs to promote that content to the algorithm.
Exactly. Because there's so much out there. How do you separate out of the pack?
Yeah, and between 2024 and 2027, YouTube as a platform will triple in size.
Really?
Triple. Yes, because we are at the very tip of what YouTube is going to be. Look around you. You're on YouTube, around you. It went from gaming, a place where people are silly videos and gaming, and all these young creators, and now the adults are in the room. Now the content is swinging wildly. You can look at my analytics and see how wildly that has aged. Those has aged decades. Now I've got people in their 70s watching Straight Talk Commerce. They're not going to watch some gaming video, Gary.
No.
When's the last time you
No.
watched some Minecraft video?
I've never watched it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wouldn't expect to see you.
No.
Yeah, and that's all was on YouTube before. Now, but in order to gain an audience, people have to know that you're there. And that is something that you have been able to do extremely well. Just in me watching, one of the reasons why I asked you to come here, you've been able to do that extremely well. And I see it growing exponentially here in the future.
Well, thank you for your help.
Hey, look, listen, I'm a big fan. I mean, first and a very good friend to me. And I want to see you succeed as much, if not more, than seeing me succeed. That would be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you.
All right, look, I'm done. We've gone a while. I mean, is there any plug? Tell me, but what are you doing now? What's coming up?
All you have to really tell people, if they're interested to see the show or listen to the show, GarryMeier.com, and you'll get a menu of all the shows, and that's really it. Very simple.
Yeah, that link is to be in the description for all of you. I'm going to do the work for you. You don't have to look for Gary. I'm going to make sure you find him. You have any guests that are coming up? Anybody in particular you're excited about talking
When
about?
are you? Well, it depends on when you're posting this. If it's before June 13th, I've got a financial guy coming on this Friday on the Cocktail Show who's big into crypto, and I've had crypto explained to me by a lot of people. I still don't understand it, but anyway, very successful guy. And this could or could not happen. It's scheduled, but I've had this scheduled before and it went south. There's a show on MeTV, which is syndicated throughout the country, and it's hosted by Lisa Welchel, and she goes to people who collect things and it's called Collector's Call. It airs on Sunday nights on MeTV. And I find that group of people pretty fascinating. These people that collect, name anything.
Wait, you're having
Yes.
Facts of Life on your show.
Yeah. If that, we're gonna tape it because she has to tape it earlier in the day on Friday. I'm gonna try to include it in this Friday's cocktail show, but it's, as far as I know, or people said it's still on, but I've been trying to plan this for a year, and fingers crossed, because when I see people devote, say they have a 1,100 square foot home, 500 square feet of it is devoted to Star Wars figurines.
Yeah.
What is that? And pleasure do you get out of that? It's all in this case in a room, and you go in and you look at it. What else do you get out of that? I don't know, but they do, and I'm interested.
Yeah. Look, I've known people, that are like collect certain things. Some of them started by accident. My mother had a turtle collection.
Yeah, right.
Completely by accident.
She got a couple for a gift, decided she liked it, and every time she sees a turtle,
everybody would bring her
3,000 later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then and the family had to figure out what to do with this freaking
that's
turtle
the thing
collection.
With these people, what do you do with all this stuff? Have they made plans? And some don't have kids. Where is this going? Okay, well, anyway, that's the stuff.
George Carlin used to do a comedy routine about that, a place for my stuff.
Right. We got stuff. Oh, there's a business that you want to be in, storage lockers.
Yeah.
People get these storage, they pay every month, and then in 5, 6, 7 years, they go there and just throw everything out.
That routine, absolutely. I go back to that all the time. A place for
my stuff.
I got a big place and I have a roof over it. It's a place for my
stuff. Yeah, it's all stuff.
And I go, and my stuff is, but your stuff is shit. You got your shit everywhere. Crack me up, man. I love that routine. Perfect. It's perfect. All right. Well, look, let's call this. And I'll talk to you later on this week. But everybody else, Garry, thank you very much for talking to us. Appreciate it.
And thanks to your viewers for watching.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure they're going to get a lot out of it. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Okay. So that was my conversation with radio legend Garry Meier. Actually, I've talked to him at least a dozen times since we finished that conversation. We went about an hour and 45 minutes, and I kept looking for a place to cut. And I couldn't find anything that I didn't want to keep. And my instincts were correct. If you notice the views, the amount of views, and if you were to take a peek at the analytics that I'm seeing, my audience has enjoyed that immensely. So maybe we bring Garry back at a point down the road. But it was a great conversation. I learned a hell of a lot about radio and about Garry, and I cannot be more appreciative. It's very it's imperative that you have good friends like that. Next week, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency. Some things have happened in the cryptocurrencies market, and it has become really important that I kind of help people in this way. So until next week, I'll see you later.
Just the real deal. Wayne Altman's here, yeah, you know the drill. Talking business, talking shop, making moves non-stop. From e-com to hustle, straight talk, no props. Straight talk, no gimmicks, no lies. Hey, I break it down with the sharpest minds. Money, moves, mindset, grind. If you're ready to win, then tune in live. Big names, big games, all the lessons they bring. From Jelly Belly to AA Kings. From the startup grind to the top tier pros. We crack the code, now here we go.